Syrians commemorate the 65th anniversary of al-Nakba, right of return. Russia rejects any hasty discussion of a draft resolution concerning Syria in the UN General Assembly. Salehi says that Friends of Syria conference will be held in Tehran on the 29th of May. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. In Syria is the main entrance to a political solution that would stop the bloodshed and prevent the destruction of infrastructure. He said, our national project as a government is represented in a free, resistant and democratic state. Al-Halaqi added that the government welcomes what was agreed upon between the Russian and American foreign ministers in Moscow on ending the crisis in Syria and holding an international conference that may serve as an extension to the Geneva meeting. He said the government would work with a sense of responsible partnership with the states sponsoring the conference and would interact with any political initiative to solve the crisis in a manner that does not contravene our national principles. The Palestinian people inside and outside the occupied Palestinian lands have commemorated the 65th anniversary of al-Nakba in popular demonstrations staged under the motto, "Repatriation is a people's right and will," to emphasize the right of repatriation and to affirm that occupation will come to an end.
In Ramallah and the West Bank, thousands of Palestinians took to the streets carrying keys to symbolize the right of repatriation. They shouted slogans asserting the inevitability of victory over the occupiers, despite all the plots aimed at liquidating the Palestinians. The sound of mourning sirens was heard throughout the occupied lands as traffic came to a standstill for 1 minute. Azan was raised in mosques, and the sound of bells was heard from various churches in a number of Palestinian towns and cities. The Palestinians also staged a sit-in in front of the UN headquarters in Gaza, calling on the world community to support their right to repatriation and to urge the Zionist enemy to stop its daily aggressions against the Palestinians. The national forces in Gaza said in a statement that the right to repatriation is non-negotiable, appealing to Arab and Islamic states to remember always their duties and ensuring their return to the occupied lands. It is to be noted that on that day in 1948, with the declaration of the end of the British mandate on Palestine, the Zionist gangs launched the most violent campaign of terrorism and ethnic cleansing against the Palestinians, attacking their towns, raising the number of martyrs to tens of thousands, reporting 85% of the Palestinians.
Ali Akbar Salehi said that a conference of Syria's friends will be held on the 29th of May. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro said that the Syrian people have the right to live in peace and that the people of Venezuela have a great respect to the Syrian nation. The Venezuelan president pointed out during his reception of Maronite Patriarch Mar Boutros Bshar al-Rai in Caracas that both sides discussed the Syrian crisis. For his part, Patriarch al-Rai called for peace in Syria and the Middle East, demanding international community to shoulder its responsibility. Syrian Arab army units inflicted heavy casualties among the terrorists during a series of operations carried out today against their gatherings in Damascus countryside, destroying a number of their hideouts with all their criminal tools, weapons and ammunition that included rockets and RPG launchers. A military source said that a number of terrorists were killed at a Thanawiya roundabout in Douma, destroying their weapons and ammunition. The source added the units of Syrian Arab army continued their operations against the terrorist hideouts and gatherings in the town of Jarba, killing most of them, including the leader of a terrorist group. Other Syrian Arab army units carried out 2 operations in Harasta, destroying a cache for weapons and ammunition and killing a number of terrorists. In Hadra, a series of operations carried out by the Syrian Arab army resulted in the killing of many terrorists, seizing their weapons and ammunition, including RPG launchers and a large quantity of explosive devices and handmade rockets. As part of their criminal attacks against ordinary citizens, terrorists detonated at Umayyad Square an explosive device glued to a private car, causing the killing of 1 citizen and damaging the car. Meanwhile, terrorists blew up an explosive device planted inside a private car owned by a physician working for Ibn al-Nafis Hospital near Al-Shafi'i Mosque in Mazzeh Villas. The blast slightly wounded the physician and caused damages to his car. As a new evidence of the link between the Israeli occupation entity and the terrorist groups in Syria, some terrorists opened fire at the participants in the March of Residents returning into the camp at Al-Yarmouk refugee camp for Palestinians in Damascus. The attack injured a number of Palestinians. An official source confirmed that the report circulated by some media channels about the control of armed terrorist groups on parts of central Aleppo prison in Al-Muslimiyeh are baseless and untrue. The source added that these false reports are fabricated by misleading channels which took part in shedding the Syrian blood as the terrorists were defeated in many areas. Our army units, the source pointed out, inflicted heavy losses on the terrorists who tried to attack the prison, killing and wounding dozens of them and destroying a number of rockets and a factory for manufacturing explosives near a safe workshop north of the prison. Finally, and in our local news, the National Union for Syrian Students and Damascus University have organized an art exhibition under the title Homeland Belonging. The exhibition, which will last for 7 days, aims at benefiting from the potentials of youth to enhance national adherence to the homeland. Now to latest business and market news, but after a short break. Welcome back. Minister of Industry Dr. Adnan al-Sukhni said that the ministry is reconsidering the decisions that hindered the work pending, rephrasing them or even cancelling others in order to come up with new communiques and decisions that suit the current circumstances. The minister said that despite the crisis, which has repercussions on the economy as a whole, including the national industry and the industrial public sector, focus should be laid on efforts to preserve the industrial facilities, pointing out that these measures are a first step in the field of administrative reform, paving the way to boost the work of the industrial institutions. Director General of the Syrian communication company, Bakir said that the internet and the regional telephone services have been cut today due to a malfunction in the fiber optic cable, adding that maintenance workshops are working to repair the cable as soon as possible. Brent crude oil fell as traders were caught between hopes of a revival in global economic growth. June Brent futures settled down 0.21% a barrel, while the U.S. crude futures settled 1.01%. The U.S. stocks rallied to a record high yesterday, with the Standard & Poor's 500 index rose a 16% gain this year, while the European stock futures pointed to a mixed open today. The Japanese Nikkei share average rose for the first time since January 2008. Gold is still down for a week as economic optimism and record high the U.S. equities. The spot gold eased 0.1%. The US dollar has rallied over the past couple of weeks as better than expected jobs data coupled with a recent decline in the number of Americans filing new claims for jobless aid. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Till tomorrow, all the best and goodbye.